installing the quarter panel. Just a little repair on the rear valance.
All right, folks. In preparation for the quarter panel install, the first thing I got to do is get this nonsense resolved. So we know and learn from the other side that there's a step under, right wherever my finger is, there's a jogged flange that the quarter panel, this is quarter panel, this is valance. The quarter panel sits on top of the valance. Like it's like an inch jogged flange coming down here. And then they spot weld it here, and then they lead it. And that's what you're seeing here is that's lead right there. So what I gotta do, the other side didn't go very well because the metal was just fatigued and nasty and stuff. So I ended up butt welding on a big extension like this of fresh metal. I got a feeling I'm gonna have to do that too, but first thing I need to do is grind off this nonsense to get to see the rivets. Not rivets, damn it. You'd think, I'm into it a year, I'd know it's a weld and not a rivet. All right, the good news is I got the quarter panel off. The bad news is this flange is horrific. It's all rusted up here, terrible. I actually filed through it, or ground through it, just getting the rivets off. So I'm gonna cut it off. Well, I'm gonna find good metal, which will probably be about where my thumb is. Cut that down, and then just weld in a piece about yay big. And then I will put the fender back on, the quarter panel, mark that edge where it ends, and then cut my repair patch off. And then I'll put the patch in, the quarter panel, repair panel, and then I will mark where that edge is here, and then I'll cut my extension on roughly where this currently edge is, and then I will bend it in. All right, so in this instance, I'm using the tape not as a template to make the flange. I'm using the tape because when I laid it on here, I kind of put it on tight, so to speak. So this edge is straight, meaning it's the side of the tape, but it did conform in space. So if I cut along this edge now, when I do go to put my replacement flange in here, it should mate up to this, even though it's a three-dimensional curve. If I cut it flat and straight, it should bend. After it's bent, it should conform to this, because what we've got is from here to here is almost planar, and then from here to here is just a smooth curvature. There's a jog right here, you can see it. That we'll have to account for, but pretty much by the time we're at our replacement flange here, this jog is gone. So it's planar, radius, bigger radius. That's what it was on the other side. So let's make this piece of metal here. It's just an extension of how this edge left off. So that's easy to do. So I put that up there and I traced that curve onto the cardboard. That's what you're seeing there. And obviously, I'll be able to clean up the ripples and the nastiness that's going on in here as I make this new piece. So I just want to go over our definition from aerospace, but it is what it is. If you take that edge and just shoot it the direction of my finger, you only have curvature here. And by curvature, I mean it's whatever this shape is. It's a curve, but it's a funky one. It's kind of straight, and then a bend, and then a bigger bend. But since I'm only shooting it in one direction, that's called a ruled surface or an extruded surface, because I'm just taking a curve and extruding it in space. All right, so that's a ruled surface. if I was to continue, say, this panel around, say that wasn't there and I wanted it to extend it, so it looked, like this, that would be a complex surface because I have curvature in or more than one direction, right? I'm not just shooting it off on a vector, I am pulling it around another curve. So I have a curve along a curve that creates what's called a complex surface. So I have my new piece clamped in. I'm gonna start up here and I'm gonna, kind of form it as I'm welding to match this contour. I might have to cut a little bit off down here, but it doesn't matter. So I've got that feature that's coming through here is in the right spot. There's a little flange on the top that I bent over that was rusted and rotted. So we're good. I got to grind that, not grind, but get the rust off of here for welding. We're ready to go. So I'm gonna weld this in and then I'll get back with you. All right, so I've got that new piece welded in, kinda. Got a couple of voids, no big deal right now. And I've traced the edge of the quarter panel onto it. Now I have the option, I'm not quite sure what goes on here, what overlaps, what, but in this region for sure, I could either joggle the quarter panel in to fit under this one, or I could joggle this valance extension in, and then the quarter panel would fit over it. So I'll make that decision. Not quite sure the best way to go. I know the original design is the valance is joggled in and the quarter panel just fits onto it and then filled with lead. But we'll see. I'm going to think about this one. I have determined what I'm going to do. From here to here, I'm going to create a butt joint on that edge and then just do a bead weld down here. From here to the bottom, I'm going to flange this down. All right, so I'm using this baby. I think it's 60 bucks, 80 bucks, Amazon. And it does two things. I showed this in the tool section, episode 3 or something. I can punch holes with it, or I can create the joggle using that profile in the dies. So, as I said, I'm only gonna do the joggle from here to here, so let's give it a whirl. And this is one-handed, so yippee. So let's put it on. Pull the trigger. And then inspect to see that we're going the right way. And you can see that we are. It's coming across and then jogs down. So this will fit under the valance. So the valance will be on top of this joggle and then be puttied or blended in flat between the two panels. So I'm going to continue on because I need two hands, but you get the message. And then I'm going to have to make a cut here because I'm going under that panel, whereas here I'm going to be just butt joint and welding. That's a good angle with the light. You can really see the joggle that's been formed by that thing. It's going to take some body work to get this all beautiful, but on the original, this is all leaded, right? So it's a big enough joint at the factory that it warrants putting in lead and then smoothing that out. So I'm not worried about this. Well, I can almost taste it now. So here you're seeing a butt weld. This right now, this area is flat against the that bent down flange as part of the trunk. So that's beautiful because that'll be like 1 or 2 puddle welds here. Then I'll I'll just kind of bead weld down here just to really fill the seam. And then this is joggled under this flange, and I'll either just do a bead weld along the edge, or I could put a couple of holes in here and do some puddle welds. Either way, fits beautifully. It's pulled tight against the structure inside the trunk and everything. I got great fit across the top. I got great fit inside the fender well here. I got a great fit here. I had to cut a little bit of this flange off in here that comes from the factory to get this to be adjacent here across. I got perfect fit along this bottom. That'll clamp and puddle weld in beautifully. And so really the next step for me is to weld on the B pillar, and then I'll be using that to help register this whole front section of the quarter panel, because it can really kind of only go one place when you pull that B pillar up against this flange here. I don't know why you're not focusing, camera. When you pull that B pillar up against that, it is where it is. And hopefully the door will close.
Bye everyone. I can't wait to get that quarter panel installed.